Brio maybe get a couple of camps, put Pioshik on the back foot early, which is possible against the Diana, then you can go into a more comfortable mid game as Fredit BRION. Don't face check though, please don't.
No, we've found out that doing that is generally a bad move, as Pioshik is going to throw a crescent into that brush. Adorable.
He knows. Okay, he's not going to do it.
I'm glad that we were watching Umpty setting up his emotes on the player cams earlier on before we got into the draft, and now we're seeing exactly the value of it. As there's the Generic Green Wings, making everyone a little bit sad, myself included. But that's okay. They live on in our hearts, and also in the vibe that Fredit BRION provides here in the LCK, which is definitely fantastic. Not necessarily for win rate, but
it's never about win rate with Jin.
It certainly is not. Unless you were talking about StarCraft, in which case they were doing pretty well. But here we go. Umpty going to be starting off on his red buff. Same thing to be said here for Pioshik. He shouldn't have too much action in very early stages. And how are you sort of seeing these lanes going? Are you expecting anyone to have some severe priority in this early game?
I think it's pretty dependent on how the lanes are played out. I think that Lava should have the upper edge in this early matchup, or in to the Lee Sin. Depends also on what Jet does. I've seen some Lees still go for the Emax even though it was nerfed. A lot of Q-maxing around as well, with Q-max obviously being really good in 2v2s and skirmishes, but just not doing that much in lane. It's really hard to get prio.
I believe our first Q-max Lee Sin mid was in fact Jet last time that they played.
Could be the case. And I don't mind it. It just provides different strengths and should be played around accordingly. And as we can see, one of the benefits that the Leader does have is that her early clearing is really nice. Should be able to generate a free tempo advantage. Kingen, I think this matchup can generally be okay for the set if you're able to actually get on top of the Gwen, but with the Ignite, there is no actual threat, and as Hoya, you need to play very respectful. Umpty is pathing towards top, so
yeah, I'm personally hoping that Hoya gets a little bit more help.
I hope so.
That will allow him to actually frontline for this team, which could be pretty valuable. But instead, Umpty's going to wrap around and look for a potential gank here onto Jet, who's just going to safeguard his way to safety, as Umpty's just going to come through and help shove this lane out. For Lava, a lot of spinning going on between these two champions, which is certainly on theme. I like that.
Yeah, not the biggest fan of Umpty's pathing here, unless they set up a play on bot side, which I don't think he can do with all the summoners available, and because his topside cams are up. No, that's a risky gank. Jet sees the Renekton slice and dice in, is like, no, actually, I would not like to be a part of that. Yeah. And it's a good read by Pioshik, I say, as I thought he was going to actually clear, but it looks like he is instead just going to back. With some vision, though.
Yep, steals a little bit of experience to Umpty as he has vision on him. Hoya had a bit of an accident up here towards the top side, but Kingen doesn't have a lot of mana, so that might help the set stay alive. Not to mention his health regen being pretty high, as Umpty's going to be standing on a ward, but there's nothing that DRX can really do about it. And Lava's continuing to have a pretty good time slicing and dicing around here in this lane, as we can see.
And Umpty still not going for the back, now moving again towards that mid lane. Gonna be able to take away some Raptors here, and that should put him on a much nicer pace than he would otherwise be. Can then back, get a nice first back in, and go from there.
Yeah.
So nice little steal there, and this is in line with what Umpty wants to do. And I think the fact that those Crocs are down should also tell him where Pioshik is. Gonna go for a play on top side.
Yeah, Kingen puts down the mist as there's the face breaker. Hoya gets himself a big old shield. Umpty's still taking some time figuring out exactly what he wants to do, as they do have a ward down, and he flashes on in. This is going to be first blood going over to Fredit BRION. A great start, and it's the top side that they're focusing on.
Really happy that they give it to Hoya as well to provide him some much needed help in that matchup that was going really rough early for him. And that's also a gank where, as Kingen, the Scryer's Bloom was used by Umpty. Like, they had knowledge of someone being there. I don't think you can be that far up the lane in that scenario. Maybe some miscommunication, because initially Pioshik was pathing top as well, kind of following Umpty, but instead, it's a very telegraphed gank. Works out very, very well.
Yeah.
And now, nice early lead for Fredit BRION.
Maybe it's sort of Fredit BRION allowing DRX to assume that Fredit BRION are going to play their normal way, which is to leave Hoya by himself forever. And expecting Umpty to go for that back like a lot of junglers would have after stealing away that Raptor camp. So maybe Fredit BRION just playing the minds of their opponents quite effectively here. As we're going to check it out once again, really just wasn't many options for a flashless King.
Yeah, and now I'm wondering whether the whether it was a miscommunication, because at this point King can do nothing. Holds his Ignite as well, which I think is a good call.
Yes.
Like, there's no way that you ever get a return kill there. And now you still kill Fred post 6 with your ultimate. As this bot lane Prio working out really, really nicely as Umpty might throw the bowling ball. Don't think he's actually going to find someone, but this provides them with Fredit BRION staple. That's a dragon.
Go. Hey, and also this is at 6.5 minutes, so they'll still be able to potentially fight around the Rift Herald as well.
Yep.
You can see Hoya underneath his turret. Taeyun did have to go for that back, and having Umpty even delay that back by just a little bit means that so many of these minions will get missed by Taeyun, and does give a really nice back timing, an even better one, over to Henna and Delight. So things working out just fantastically for Fredit BRION in the early stages of this game, as Hoya continues to find some safety here towards the bastion of his turret.
And now he's 6, which means that actually diving this set is really hard. While the Diana and the Gwen have a lot of damage available, there's not that much lockdown, which, especially with the Showstopper as well as the Flash available, means that it's not great.
Yeah.
To try and make plays on that, and that's exactly the position where Fredit BRION won in, and why they have been so adamant about putting Hoya on these type of picks. In this scenario, it's even better because they actually did give him a little bit of love. You know, and now Hoya's like, yeah, okay, I feel strengthened, I feel supported. You can do stuff on the rest of the map. Go pick up your dragons, Umpty, it's okay.
The thing that I would really like is for them to have a look at the Herald, because if they do manage to crash it into the top lane outer turret, then it will mean that the Gwen has basically nothing that she can do, which is really, really good for Fredit BRION. We had a look at the Lee Sin mid stats. He hasn't won a game on this patch so far, and that is certainly bad news. Yeah, maybe this is the day, but so far, Fredit BRION have a lot of control, and it's only going to get worse for the next little while, as DRX will be entering towards the mid-game, which is exactly where Fredit BRION have a lot of their power. As there's a Happy Bee that moves his way towards this bottom lane, and that is optimistic ultimate to come through from Henna. Sometimes you just want to celebrate and press your R button. Chronicler?
I think he was trying to predict Taeyun walking back with Henna and Delight walking up. Taeyun, not scared at all. Like, nah, yeah, I'm good actually. And it'll just be available for Pioshik, and I want to see plays, right? Like, Moonfall is available, you have the Dragon's Rage as well.
Yeah, Bowling Ball going to connect here onto Pioshik because he does miss the Q. In goes Lava looking for an opportunity. Instead decides to stun the ward, which is not exactly the greatest. Now he's going to flash, but gets booted over the wall. Jet going to flash to follow him. It's a 1-for-1. It's messy, but it gets the job done. Jet now taking a bit of damage as Umpty's just running circles around him, much like the Lilia is wont to do. Not going to be able to find the Watch Out Eat or anything like that as he just tidies up this minion wave.
It's not the cleanest play by Fredit BRION, who clearly opts into that.
Whoa, that's a flash out from Hoya.
Ooh.
Aggressive. No Ignite actually to go down here for King and either.
How you gotta respect. That's the unfortunate part. If you look at the lack of vision that is available. And there's even a cheeky flank ward there. There's no teleport available, but it's still there, you know?
Yeah, I like it.
It's ready.
It's the thought that counts sometimes, you know?
Just knowing that someone could support you if they had teleport, which they do not, because they've used it for the lane, because you're Hoya. But I think if you get the double E here, you're in a really good spot. Instead, it's a little bit awkward. Hoya using, I think, his empowered W on that ward.
Yeah, bad news.
That is really not what you want. Fortunately, Umpty able to salvage a play with the kill on Pioshik, and able to do a nice amount of damage as well on Jet there. And now I think they can get away with this. Dominus not available yet, but neither is a Needlework.
True Jump Barrage hitting 3 does a fair bit of work here as DRX are going to rotate their way around. Fredit BRION relatively low right now as The eye going to be popped. It's going to be a 50-50 on this one as in goes the quickness towards the backline. The Rift Herald goes down, but now the fight is on. Hoya does so much damage as Umpty still bouncing around this one. Jet in a whole host of trouble. He's going to get taken down as Umpty flashes over the wall. Jun down to 300. Kingen also in a lot of trouble. Jun's going to flash, and there is the sleep on the Gwen. She gets her scissors out, but running with scissors is dangerous, and he's going to bear the brunt of it.
And I'm pretty sure I saw Umpty actually pick up. There we go, did find the Herald after all. So now this is such a big turnaround for Fredit BRION. Able to win the fight. Now move into the top side. Pick up a bunch of free plates. Sure, Tane is left alone in the bot side with the turret, but doesn't matter. Picks up maybe 1-2 plates. But with the amount of pressure generated there, Fredit BRION looking great.
Yeah, love it. Let's have a look at it one more time as this was a 50-50, but the win for Fredit BRION is huge. For Umpty taking this one down, and his Lilias look really good.
It's the perfect smite, hit it at 890, I think, and it's the setup provided by that set. We know that it has, and even though Umpty is not playing a champion that I think is the highest of tiers right now, we see the power of comfort, we see the confidence that this player has, and we know how important Umpty being and feeling comfortable is for Fredit BRION, because they just look like a different team. Hoya also with a beautiful setup, the light going in with a flash engage, just everything working out for Fredit BRION there. Yeah,
and they really do play well when their game plan is working. Often, if you put them off their rhythm, that's when you see Fredit BRION have a whole lot of trouble. It was something that DRX was capable of doing last time these two teams clashed, but it looks like it's not necessarily working out this time as Umpty. Yeah, no, you don't take dragons from this team, Pioshik. That is very optimistic.
Not happening. And now as DRX, it's a bit of a worst-case scenario. Lava?
Yeah, he's got the dominant spot, but Kingen trying to chase him down the lane. There is a lot of needlework, but it's not quite enough to get through that, as True Shot Barrage is going to sail towards the top side, but it's not going to get the Crocodile as he's running a really long way away, and also probably had enough health to survive it anyway.
They don't want to take the risk, which I get as Lava. I'm a level up, you know, even in CS. I got a couple of assists. How bad? Oh, it's Gwen. Yeah, no, it's very bad actually. Never mind.
Yeah.
I will skedaddle. As, yeah, second Drake picked up, Fredit BRION. And I'm really happy you pointed it out, because we've seen a lot of games where Fredit BRION basically does nothing for 30, 35 minutes, and then they lose the game. And it's even more frustrating when you see games like this, where when they can play their own play, they very clearly know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's when they're put on the back foot that they're facing a lot of difficulty. And now, as DRX, you have a top side with an incredible amount of all-in power that will remain relevant, but simultaneously also all melee, all forced to go into a composition that I think when it comes to wombo combo, outdoes you, and it doesn't happen often when you have Diana on your team.
Not going to work this time around, especially with how powerful Henna just became. He is just huge. On this Varus, we'll be able to go back and buy whichever items he would like. There's the Duskblade, and has another Caulfield's Warhammer as well. So a lot of ability haste at this point in the game. And the Varus is very, very happy to take over this mid-game right before those plates fall down. They get all of them on the bottom side. And now the amount of poke around the next dragon fight, and it is a Mount Drake as well. We escaped the Cloud Soul inevitability that I often bring to the LCK, but I have been a good boy today. Thankfully.
Sure, Fredit BRION does too.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very powerful if they are able to continue all of the pressure that they've shown.
And as DRX, that's something you're very happy to see, because I think that if that is not a Mountain Drake with a possible Mountain Soul, the win condition of you diving on a single person, blowing them up with the exorbitant amount of burst that you have available, remains a win condition. However, with Fredit BRION, with how the game's looking right now, going to be able to pick that or at the very least Soul Point up without too much of a hitch. I don't know if they can really do anything as teleport's available, but I don't know if Kingen lives through this.
Yeah, this is really dangerous. He does have Ignite, but I don't know whether that's going to help him as the mist goes down to avoid the chains of corruption. But point blank, not really going to work as Lava goes in, slices him up. Good tanking as Lava's going to have to flash to get out of the way of the turret. Jun still looking for it, but Solar Flare now on cooldown, and Jet not going to go in 1v4, which I think is intelligent.
I think that was the slice, or rather the dice, that got Lava in an unfortunate position there, because Jet already buffering his kick, and then the Renekton dices away and you kick him to safety. Never feels good.
Not great.
Ooh, I don't know if you want to go for this.
Looking for a potential dive. It is 3 versus 3 as one had gone home. Sorry, 2 had gone home, in fact. Taeyeon's still in this mid lane, just trying to get his farm up. He's only ahead by 4, but it's not too bad considering how badly things went on the bottom side.
Not a good place for DRX, because now we're slowly starting to get to the point where the only viable win condition that you have with all of these solo laners being continuously killed is your Ezreal, and that's in the very, very far future. And you don't really have a clear path how to get to that future, which is a big issue. As there we see Lava, that's dies at the last second. Otherwise would have died a certain death, getting kicked deeper into that territory. But Taeyeon going for the Triforce build, which I think ever since he nerfed the Sunderer on ranged characters is completely fine. But it's still, you're talking about finishing your Mana Mune, stacking it up, and then going into a definite third item. Don't even think you can afford to go for Frozen Ade. I think you need damage just to have somewhat of a shot, so you can get Surreal Dust.
No, I agree.
It's just not a good spot for DRX, and Fredit BRION looking peachy here.
Really good. Shirley's going to go down as well. They're going to continue their monopoly on these neutral objectives. They're going to be able to use that to get more Drake priority as well. As Henna doesn't have Flash, but he does have his ulti and his cleanse back available once again. Flash onto Hoya is very important. Same can be said for Umpty, who has broken his stopwatch, so needs to complete that Zhonya's before the big plays can be made. As that piercing arrow was not exactly the greatest from Henna, but hopefully we see some better ones. As 8 seconds, and then we'll have our first Mountain Drake of the game. And it's exactly what we were expecting here from Fredit BRION. Be able to charge Shirley towards the turret, continue this pressure. But Kingen does have control vision here in the river, and DRX are looking for an opportunity to engage. Jun looking for it, but not actually able to connect the Zenith Blade, and that is going to say no to that.
Nice sidestep by Lava. Fredit BRION don't have to go for this Drake. They can instead use Hoya, but Hoya's not really threatening anything right now, so I would rather see him move in, which he most certainly is doing. And I think as DRX, the moment that Hoya joins here, we need to recognize that funneling through that choke point is not going to work out well for you. But Fredit BRION a little scared here. Not sure why with the lead that they have right now. Yeah, they can just take control of the river, as they do. Just wanted to get the shove in mid lane. Yeah,
DRX doing a lot of milling about. They were able to dance away from a lot of that poke, but milling about, not going to get you a Drake or win you a game, to be perfectly honest. So we got to see some more decisiveness out from DRX, and just missing one Zenith Blade doesn't mean that you've lost all hope of winning a potential team fight. But they are still behind, and that is only getting worse the less and less they do.
I like the sidestep from Lava. Yeah, he's a big crocodile. He doesn't. He might be.
That's true.
I have Dominus. I can tank. He wouldn't be able to tank that. Might still be fine with the fight with the lead that Fredit BRION have at the moment. Because while in terms of gold, this isn't the most impressive gold lead that we've seen by any margin. The 3 dragons, as well as the pretty horrible state of the very all-in top side of DRX is just not in the greatest spot. However, if you can slow down this game, if you can pick up the next dragon, get towards the second item spike on a bunch of champions, and maybe bait Fredit BRION into overextending on side lanes, you might be fine. But Fredit BRION, they're not really a side laning team, Atlas. They're we stand strong to get, except Hoya. But it's post-laning phase, so even Hoya can join the party now.
Yeah, and also Hoya wants to, right? He's playing Set. He's not necessarily a side lane champion, especially not into Gwen, who should be winning that one. Also is going for the side lane build in the Nash's Tooth second, by the looks of that recurve bow. So haven't really been seeing it that often. We've seen Zhonya's second more often than not, as a lot of our Gwens have been A, coming from the jungle, and B, wanting to teamfight a little bit more.
And I would have preferred that here as well.
Yeah.
From Kingen. I think Kingen is one of the unfortunate, perhaps even the most unfortunate victim of DRX's current losing streak, because I think his play has looked increasingly lackluster, and that is not due to the quality of the player. I think Kingen was one of the most surprising players to me in spring. Looked incredible. One of the key reasons why DRX was able even to string together that incredible amount of wins. I say incredible because it was way more than expected, and it also fell off very hard come playoffs.
Indeed.
But he just not looked great, and in this scenario, you're going for a side laning build into a set that is never, ever going to actually engage with you. And a Fredit BRION that has so much map control that if you try and get pressure inside, I think either they hard engage on your team with the plenty of amount of hard engage they have available, or they pick up a dragon or a baron, and then you just lose from there.
And I do want to talk to you about the Gore Drinker that Hoya has picked up as well. How are you thinking about this one? I know that Stridebreaker, far less value for set. He loved the reposition. But is it now Gore Drinker set? Is that the thing? Because we've still been seeing Stridebreaker more often than not.
I think this is 100% better on the set.
Well, it's not looking better right now, as he's going to have to flash out of the way of King. Survives for the moment. As he misses out on that cannon as well. It's all going wrong for Hoya down here on the bottom side. Don't think it's the Gore Drinker's fault, though, as True Shot Barrage is going to almost kill him. Goes down to sub 100, I think, before the Grit does get him a bit more health back.
Not even close. Still deathless.
I like how he has a little bit of a rest before he goes back there as well. Oh, my God.
He knew at that point the camera's on you. Like, hello, guys. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I think that even though the Stridebreaker on 11.13 is incredibly strong on the champions that don't need a dash, Nocturne comes to mind, even though we haven't seen him. Shaco is also a good example, you know, like he gets on you anyway, he just wants the root.
Yep.
And you're playing into 4 melee champions. I mean, the Ezreal was very unfortunate, but as said, if you ever get on Ezreal, Ezreal's not doing his job, so that should generally not happen. And like Gore Drinker in the 4 melees is great. And the amount of health that you will have available between Gore Drinker, DRX, and a possible Titanic is going to make your haymakers actually just. And I know we talk about disgusting haymakers a lot.
Yes.
This set build is it's obscene. It's even worse. It's not fun for anyone but Set and his team.
Well, Taeyeon gonna have to Arcane Shift away as Umpty's booking it towards this Ezreal. He's gonna be missed there as he flashes on forward. Lava gets over the wall as Taeyeon's out of the fight now. Quickness goes down as Pioshik's in a little bit of trouble. Good avoidance there from Umpty on the True Shot Barrage. As now Pioshik between a rock and a hard place and a crocodile, but he is going to be able to make it out. Actually really nicely done by the Diana, but it's still Fredit BRION creating a lot of control around this Mountain Soul point. And the Mountain Soul coming up in 12 seconds time, and DRX do have to try and get back here.
It's a really nice mechanical play. The fact that Pioshik gets out there is great. I think that they manage that situation as well as you possibly can. But it doesn't matter. You need to win this Drake fight, and I think right now, not looking good for DRX.
No. As the Diana is probably going to be able to make it back here, as Fredit BRION probably wanting to land a little bit more poke before they get this fight started. Taeyeon in a bit of trouble up towards the backside, but if he can get in a good position, might still be able to get enough work done. As you can see over this wall, it's working out. It's Chains of Corruption connect onto Kingen, but there's no engage. The mist goes down, and so Kingen won't have that for the next fight, potentially. As Umpty gets himself into the pit. True Shot Barrage does a fair bit of damage. In goes Jun now, but immediately gets brought out. It is going to be Mountain Soul, and Umpty goes Golden Delight. Gets a great knock-up, and now the AoE flies forward. DRX are just falling like flies, but Taeyeon's still alive. Jet and himself still trying to fight this one out, but they haven't been able to find any kills at all. And the Mountain Soul shield goes back up, and it's basically just saying no to DRX.
Pivotal play there for Fredit BRION. That's the Mountain Soul that takes so much power away from DRX. Now, they're already unlikely roads to victory, even more unlikely. And it's a textbook Fredit BRION game. Like, your games where they look good, it always follows the same pattern.
Yeah.
Umpty finds some early outplays, they start stacking the dragons, their team fighting in coordination as a team is really nice. It's a bit one-dimensional, but like what they do incredibly well. You see it here.
You really do. You also see what we've been scared of for DRX as well, not really being able to make any plays whatsoever. This was a great escape from Pioshik, but a great escape doesn't win you games. He tries to avoid it to get out. Really good use of his dash cannon in order to create the space.
And this was great, and I commend June for saving his teammate, but also now you have no solo flare in this fight. And it might not have made a difference as it is very late smite at 260 health on the dragon. Almost went the other way. Even if it goes the other way, this fight with the gold lead that Fredit BRION have, not going anywhere. At no point is Hannah actually threatened. Lava has hit his 2-item power spike just before this fight, so you're never ever killing the Renekton. And this ties into, you know, that top side composition that you drafted as DRX. It's 3 melees into Renekton and Set, and a Lilia as well. Wow.
Is this an LCK wide, or is this just Fredit BRION? I'm interested in what that stat is. As Lava is now going to get caught. They will be able to kill the Crocodile, but they will lose an inner turret for it. It's Fredit BRION's win rate with a gold lead at 25 minutes. So,
actually insane.
Yeah, not bad. 11-0. As that, I believe, includes last season as well. As, yes. I think. I don't know. As that's a flanking teleport. Let's see whether DRX can actually make this one happen. In goes Piosik, finds a 3-man moonfall, but do they actually have the damage? Hannah goes gold with his stopwatch, flashes away, and now the 3-man face breaker is the follow-up. Fredit BRION, their wallet's just a little bit too heavy as Taeyeon's going to get flashed on by a Rakan and taken down. In the meantime, King in trouble. Did manage to heal himself up a lot, but Umpty is just so damn strong and so lithe as well. There's the flash over from Hoya and picks it up with the haymaker. The ace comes through. 4 members of Fredit BRION are going to look to break the base.
It's an up-tempo Fredit BRION, and there you see the value of that Mountain Soul, the reason why Fredit BRION puts so much importance on it. Even if Diana finds a 3-man ultimate, doesn't even matter. Piosik doesn't, even with 2 items, can't barely get through that shield. The rest of the team already too far behind. And not gonna end, which I think they can push for it. I don't think they need to. And Fredit BRION going for a safer play. Completely fine by me.
Yeah, just going to go for a bit of a reset here as we're going to check out Lava dying quite a while ago as, of course, our replay team just really wants to get all of the replays possible. You can look into that order. And the needlework is going to be able to finish off the crop.
You invest 4 people into this, right? That's the problem, and that's what makes it not really worth it. Normally that's game ending, right?
The fact that this is like basically a 4v5 ace is just not what you want.
No, it's not even base. Like there isn't. Lava's still dead.
Yeah. Maybe the spirit of the dragon is also in. Hoya, really nice. Stone cold as well, just no comment.
Of course I hit that, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
It is a good look for Fredit BRION. It turns out maybe the lane that you didn't have to give attention was the bot lane. Maybe Hannah and the Light are just fine on their own, and giving Hoya a little bit of resources is the way to go.
Well, Piosik looking to make his way in here as Delight looking to get out. Here's the engage. It's desperation on the side of DRX, but they do manage to get rid of the Varus. But it's another massive play from Hoya. This set is just so damn strong. Gets in there with the superplex, and now Taeyeon has to deal with so many angry members of Fredit BRION. He does take down the Croc as Umpty gets that flash over. Taeyeon looking for it, and he will find it here. Can he do the impossible? The answer is almost, as it's only Hoya left alive after the tirade of the Ezreal.
A little bit of happy gaming there from Fredit BRION. Not really the clean ending that you want to this game, but I don't think it's going to matter. Hoya goes through turrets very, very quickly. It's going to be June and Piosik. I think maybe they can hold. Yeah, he needs to peace out.
Yeah, this game's not over just yet.
BRION, that was not necessary. You didn't have to go for that. Because this pick or this engage rather from Piosik is done really, really nicely. But you can still win this fight, and they basically do, right? Because they're this far ahead. Even engages this powerful don't actually mean that much. But then they dive 1 turret deep. That's still okay. However,
this is 4 against 1, and Taeyeon takes 3 of them down.
He went for the Frozen Heart. He doesn't die.
Oh, his back must feel so sore. Oh my goodness. Well, That was still an amazing play. And now, I mean, you flip around an Elder Drake, whoever takes this is going to win the game, right? It's likely going to be Fredit BRION, but let's see whether DRX can get something done here as Hoya. Already in amongst it, Pyoshik, he's just dead before the fight even really starts. And Henna, there is no one touching him. This game, ladies and gentlemen, is over. Jet to go down here as now Kingen gets over the back wall, and it looks like Elder Drake is going to survive for the moment, as the Nexus turret not going to be so lucky as Lava just going to give him the thumbs up and fail to get over the wall, and Kingen is going to be able to get back and attempt to save this Nexus. That was very interesting. Teleport now available.
Don't think he'll make it, Atlas.
Yeah, I don't think that one Gwen against the world is going to be enough here, as yeah, there's a bit of a crab rave to be had, and that is going to be it. Nexus falls down, and Fredit BRION will take the victory over